inside my soul, the child within began to grow. A whispered voice said, take my hand, we'll build a world where love will stand. We gathered hearts like scattered leaves, a tapestry of dreams to weave. From broken wings to open skies, together we will learn to fly. Kaleidoscope of happiness, 1,000 colors we possess, transforming pain to something bright. We're butterflies in endless flight. The cocoons held the weight of fears, but now they're gone with all the years. We stitched the threads of laughter's tune and danced beneath the silver moon. Love to draw us near, no longer lost, no longer small. Together we can have it all. Kaleidoscope of happiness, 1,000 colors we possess, transforming pain to something bright. We're butterflies in endless flight.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Tonight, my special guest is Miss Trishauna from Snapback Coach. Welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm excited to be on here, Echo. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. We already have a few people in the house. We have Wounds to Wisdom, Teresa, and Daniel Berry Sports. Welcome. And welcome everyone else. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in South Georgia. We've been having rain every afternoon, but today it didn't rain yet, so it's still nice and sunny out there. I want you to go ahead and tell us a little bit about your channel and how you got started here on YouTube.
Well, my channel is called Snapback Coach, and I am a certified coach with John Maxwell. I do uplifting, encourage, motivations. Also, I use biblical principles to make it for practical living. I feel like you can't just have scripture and not apply it to your life so that you'll be a more well-rounded, wise person. And how I started as a consumer. I just watched it. And then last year, God told me, because I was on other platforms, and God told me that I could come on YouTube. I tried in the past, brought a camera, didn't know how to use it, and other things that I wanted to do. I'm a Toastmaster, so I was familiar with the speaking arena, the coaching arena. And so I wanted to take myself, my crafts and everything to a next level. I'm so grateful to your audience that's on, and I'm excited that they are a part of this connection that we have. Also, I was trying to see if I could see my channel and I don't see my channel. So it is great to be here and great to meet your audience and other people that's on YouTube that I may already know. Blessings.
Let me pull up your channel and make sure that we're broadcasting over there as well.
But thank you, thank y'all. I'm just excited y'all here. And so I look forward. You guys are welcome to come to my channel because the Snapback Tribe, we
Yeah.
always welcome you.
Yep, you're live on your channel.
Wow, I never see it. That's funny. But thank you. Let me figure out what's going on, so that I can say hi and I can look at it on a higher or a different device because this writing is with the lights on. It's kind of shining in my face. Maybe I'll turn one of them off. Y'all I wanted to be so bright that y'all could see me, but maybe it's too bright. I can't see y'all. Now I can see y'all.
Teresa from Wounds to Wisdom said, I love Toastmasters. I too completed the Toastmasters program. And she said she subbed to your channel. So there's a new friend for you right there.
Thank you.
Tiff 420, hello, welcome. Um, I am just grateful to all the people that I have met here on YouTube. And when I meet somebody and I make a connection with them, I want to find out more about them. So I've always known about your channel for a few months. And I know we were together on Big Jack's mom's birthday show. And I said, yeah, I definitely want to talk to her and have a good conversation. So I'm glad that you agreed to come and to talk with us tonight. I always want to know, what makes people tick, why people are the way they are or do the things that they do. And I heard you mention about the scriptures, so I know you have a spiritual background. Um, what can you tell us about how you see your life and what God has called you to do, what it is, that you want to bring to the world?
Well, I would like to bring to the world knowing the peace of God, the love of God. Sometimes God words say that we should be a living epistle that all men read, see us and read it. And so I don't preach the word, I live the word, and I'm led by the Spirit of God. And so I walk it out in my life first. And then on my channel, I make sure I connect with my audience and not just for me, YouTube is not just this is I have fun and I like to have a hoop, but it's a journey and I want you to know that God love you, that you are amazing and that you are created in God's image and without God we would not be. For so long I tell people I did this song on my new channel Snapback Vibes, the promised land. So from the project to the promised land, we all have a promised land. And that promised land is inside of us and we need to get it out. How we get it out, we do the things that God created us to do. Sometimes we're afraid to try something different, try something new. But as we do, we unfold. Our life is like a book. And each chapter unfold and you become, I think how we are designed, our path, God said the word of God said he direct our path. So we are going in a direction it don't always seem like it is connecting together, but it is. And when you look back and you say, well, I did this and I did that, and then it connects like a puzzle piece. And then it start becoming a whole puzzle. And then you say, wow, I didn't know I went through this, but I went through the opposition and I went through the pain to get to where I'm at, the promised land. For some reason, especially as Americans, we think we're going to have this peachy green life. Every day is going to be sunshine. But if you had sunshine, you could not appreciate the rain and you could not live or survive. So for me, I say oppositions don't come to break you. They come to shape you and make you strong. Because without oppositions, you won't even know what you could do, the capability of who you are. And that's how I am. I like to talk. I've been a talker since I was in school, in grade in primary school. They said Trishana's a good student, and it always that but she don't know when to shut up. I like to talk.
That
And
was
that's
me
who I
too.
am.
I was a straight A student, but I got that on every report card. We got some people coming in from your side. We got Simi V and Boogie Time, and the source just popped in, and we've got Broke but Bountifully Blessed, and we have the Gen X effect and sharing with Shannon, and anybody else I missed, Daisy May. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad you say that because I can see them now. I have to pull a screen up. But yes, I'm
Yeah,
always excited.
you see where it says paired and then their name? And that way
Yes.
you can see on there everybody from my side, your side, and Miss Teresa from Wounds to Wisdom is over there now, got coming through on your side.
Well, hey, y'all, hey. I'm excited now. I feel like I got. You know what? Echo, you're a part of my family, but I feel like I got the snapback tribes behind me,
There
babe.
you
We
go.
we one big family, but it feel good when you riding with your. I'm riding down the street, and I could get hyped. They done hype me up, baby. You might get something different now. My family in the house.
That's right. And that's why I love doing these conversations with different creators, because then I get to see some of their folks too. We get to kind of see who we know from each other's channels. Nancy Green, we were just talking about you before we went live, Nancy. Welcome.
Yes, yes. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Everybody is always welcome.
What I love about being a YouTuber slash content creator, you don't know what is in you until you push and you just start doing this, like trial and error. I'm excited. I see Ellen Smith, Nancy. I call Nancy precious because her spirit is so precious. So God has given me a family and they like flowers in my garden. And so each one I see something different in them. And each one of them brings something different out of me. So that's what gives me the drive and the push to keep going. You get to see the people that they help you to grow. I want to just say this one thing and I'll open it back to you. Boogie Time, Boogie say you and Nemo 504, y'all are so connected. Y'all do so great together. Y'all should do the Snapback Phenomenal Show. So guess what? Now we have the Snapback Phenomenal Show. And
All
I'm
right.
excited. Yes.
Great. That's going to be really fun and interesting. I think everybody should be pairing up and doing different things. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. Talk to them real quick.
Okay.
Let me see what my
Okay.
daughter needs. Hold on.
All right. Yes, I am so excited. I see Nightbot is in a house. He said donate to help with stocking a little food pantry box for the homeless. And then Echo gave her cash app. So you guys check into that. Simi, I have gamers on my channel. I have entertainers. I have young people. So I tell people coming into my chat, you have to, sometimes they use these off-color jokes. My channel is not for children, but I am a family channel. So I don't just do things that builds my grown people up. I help them so that they can help their children because their children are a very intricate part of who they are. And so because of that, you can't just get on here. Well, I say, hey, I say you can't just get on here and minister to one aspect of a person's life. You can't just preach the Bible to them. You have to talk about finances. You have to talk about the sex word. You have to talk about wisdom, how to apply the principles to your life. It's easy for me to tell you, you shouldn't do this, but it's better when I give you how to do it. And then you decide what you should or shouldn't do because of the conviction of God in your heart. And if there's no conviction, then who am I to come and shatter your dreams? Sometimes you have to wake up your dreams. I think I call myself a lot of names. I have a song like that. I'm called many names. I am a hope caster. I give you hope and drive so that you could go on and live the dream that God has given you. Sometimes our dreams are sleeping. We have to wake up our dreams because God has given all of us dreams. He's given us dreams and visions, and sometimes we don't know how to bring it to tuition. But when you get around the right people, you get around a driven group of people, they will help drive you. Like I was saying, Boogie helped push that out, but other people have pushed things out of me that I'm doing now that I didn't do in the beginning.
Right.
I heard Big Jack say it, and I'm gonna let it go. Big Jack say his channel name came out of the audience. See, that's why you have to engage your audience, because your audience is your partner. They're not just somebody looking at you. They're not fans. They're your partners. And if you engage with them and they engage with you, they will help shape your destiny and you all grow together.
That's right. That was my daughter on the phone. And when I didn't answer it on the first ring, then she looked online to see if I was on live. And she goes, "Oh, you're on live. I'll call you back." I'm like, "Okay." But since I do have the granddaughter, I always freak out if she calls me that something might be wrong with my granddaughter. So that's why I had to stop and take that call and make sure she was okay. But she's fine. So that's good. My daughter doesn't keep up with my schedule when I go live, so she usually doesn't think I'm live. So I'm glad she looked at the live to see that I was here. So hello, sweetie baby honey. That's what I call my daughter.
So which one is your daughter? Is she on with you?
No, she's been in a few of my videos, parts of her. She doesn't like to put her face out there on the camera. Um, so I don't think I've ever had like her where you could see her whole body. Um, but she looks just like me, just a younger version. So, but I've had my granddaughter on a lot. A lot of people that have been with me the whole 3 years have seen her from a little tiny baby and watched her grow up. So that's been fun. You've got real life simulations
Yes,
over
that's
on
my YouTube. That's my YouTube granddaughter. Hey, YouTube granddaughter.
your side. Welcome, welcome. Um, I know you said a little bit about your gardening, and I've watched a couple of your gardening videos. How is your garden going this year?
Oh, my garden is going slow. Yesterday, I was so tired. I came home, and one of my church members gave me some potato slits. And every year I'm saying I'm gonna grow some potato. Well, I didn't. I lied. I wanted to grow the vine to look pretty in my garden, the flower garden. But this year I'm growing potatoes. More my gardening now is not just for aesthetics, but it's for functionality to be able to eat. So after being at the hospital all day, I came in and 8 o'clock at night because it doesn't. I get dark here until like almost 10 o'clock, and then I have a light. And so I came in and I put some dirt and stuff in the pot. Some of it was, and then I added it in, and then I got some onions and different things out there. And so my garden is coming along slowly, but I'm excited. And I can't wait to show the people who started the first time, because I get these, the little small ones. Sometimes you get the 6 packs and they're the little tiny things. And
Uh-huh.
then other times I get a bigger one, like 3 ounces or something like that. So I get them smaller, and sometimes you could divide them too. You just have to be careful. So I got excited, and I had got the stuff before time, and some of it didn't do too well because it was cold. But I'm excited because one of my tomato plants got flowers, and that's fruit, and that means we're gonna get tomatoes soon, and I'll show that off. My bell peppers, some of them was trying to grow some fruits, and they had bell peppers, and I took them off because I felt like the plant wasn't matured enough, and
Okay.
that's see, our life garden reflects our gardening in the physical reflect life gardening. So I felt like it wasn't mature enough and I plucked it off. Sometimes in our life we get fruits that's not matured enough to handle and carry what goes on with us. So we have to pluck it off. Sometimes it look cute. I remember when me and my mom had a garden, and I was excited. We had these beautiful plants, and it come to be weeds. So I make this joke. I was a weed grower, so I had to take it out because it wasn't productive. It was going to choke out the life of the vegetation. And sometimes we get weeds, and weeds look pretty. But and some plants are invasive plants, and people call them weeds. So we have to determine if it is going to sustain our garden or if it's going to make it die. So I'll be out there pulling and plucking and plucking and pulling. And I say that when people say words to us, those are seeds, and sometimes they go and penetrate our hearts. We have to pull that mess out. If not, it will choke out the good things that God have for us.
You are so right about that. And you can have a positive mindset, and you can be, going along in your life, and then somebody can say something to you and it just gets in your soul. You have to be able to say, okay, I don't need to hear that. I don't want any part of that, and keep the positive things going in yourself. Lashana is here, and my friend BJ is here. Welcome, everybody. I'm doing some container gardening on my patio, and I've got flowers on my cucumber or my green peppers and my tomatoes, but no fruit yet. But my cucumbers, I don't know what happened to them. They were growing so good, and now they look horrible. So I don't know, but that's okay. I grew all of mine from seeds. So I've had them from seeds, little bitty, and up and up and up. So I'm excited about the ones that are doing well. And if I have to buy some cucumber plants, I will buy cucumber plants. Um, Nancy, I don't know why my Nightbot is not answering for your weather. Okay, BJ typed it in. Let's see if there it did it. Atlanta conditions are thunder in the vicinity with a temperature of 72. The wind is blowing from the west northwest at 13 miles an hour, and the current humidity is 87%.
So
Let's see. Mine
I'm
says
just
it's 88 here in South Georgia, so we're a little warmer than you are there in Atlanta.
I'm just curious where you all are from. Drop where you from, and how your day going? Are you having a good day? And thank y'all for coming into the show. Thank y'all for the support on both sides of the fence. Because as YouTubers, we are families. Yes, we have our individual community, but we are, we are a loving community. We want to make sure we're showing love to each other, and also encouraging and motivating, because the very person that you don't think you might need. So I'm excited that we can get together. I'm excited that Big Jack have a show, and he have, well, not just Big Jack, your show, the Source have a show. We
Yep.
all do something different, and if we appreciate the differences, then we all can grow from it.
And that's the thing about it, is that there's plenty of room on YouTube for everyone, because God has created us each as an individual. And so even though we might be the same in what we types of things that we talk about or types of things that we cover, we're going to do it from our own perspective and have our own take on things. And I agree with you. I love watching everybody else when they're interviewing someone or being interviewed by someone too. So I enjoy that. But I also enjoy just the videos and the live streams where people just talk about what they're doing, where they live and what's going on in their lives. Let's see. Real life simulation says they're in South Carolina. And Lashana said she's from North Carolina but lives in Maryland. So we've got some closer to me. North and South Carolina aren't that far. BJ's in Canada, which until I met BJ, I didn't realize how large Canada was. I just never really thought about what a large country it was, but it's huge. And there's Elle's Endeavors. Welcome, welcome.
I'm
And
from Minnesota in the house, y'all. Oh, by the way of New Orleans. But you know the funny part is now it's like at first I struggled with being from New Orleans and living in Minnesota, and I kept wanting to live backwards. And God said I had to put my seeds here and grow here. So now I literally say I'm from Minnesota, and I don't say New Orleans no more, but I don't disown New Orleans. I've been here like about half and half. I've been in Minnesota since 96. So I was 30 something when I came to Minnesota. So now it's about half and half. So I just say that I can't keep living in two places, and I made the choice. So Minnesota is my new hometown now. And haven't been to New Orleans since 2007. So when I go back, I will literally be a tourist because that much time things have changed. Because even when I
yes.
went there in 2007, it was different.
Well, I was born and raised in Northwest Indiana. And when I was 23, I moved to South Georgia. And I've been in South Georgia now for almost 40 years, 39 years. So I've lived longer in Georgia than I have in Indiana. So I'm kind of the same way. If I go back to Indiana, everything has changed, you know. And all of my family that used to live there, nobody hardly lives in that area anymore. So it's spread out. But once I had my daughter here and now my granddaughter, I definitely feel like this is home now. Let's see, who was that? Miss Do It Yourself. Hello, hello. And Els Endeavor says, Happy Saturday, Echo, and everyone in the chat. Well, happy Saturday to you too. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Do you have any children? I know you talked about a niece, but do you have any children?
Well, I have many children, but I only born one. And that's my son. You know,
Okay.
adopted people children along the way. I only have one biological son, and I have a son in Africa. He called me his godmother. I have people
Aw.
adopt me, and so, but yeah, and I have two grandsons, and yeah.
Well, I was only blessed with the one daughter as well, but she was exactly what I needed. So that was, okay. And then she's blessed me with a granddaughter. So I feel complete as far as, family goes, as far as that goes. So I feel totally different about my granddaughter than I do my daughter, which my daughter's like, you don't love me anymore now that you love her. And it's like, no, I love you both immensely, but it's different. It's in a different way. So, okay, Nancy, the reason you can't see everybody is because if you're on my channel, you're only going to see my chat. And if you're on Trishana's channel, you're only going to see the people in her chat. We're lucky because we can see both of y'all.
Yes,
So we,
yes, yes.
we can see everybody's comments over on the Restream screen. Mm.
Unless you have multiple devices, then you can see both sides, honey.
Well, that's right. And that's what I do. I have a separate device that just has my channel going. So if I want to make somebody a moderator or I need to time somebody out, I can do it on my phone a lot quicker than I can figure out how to do it, through the Restream. I don't I still don't know as much about Restream as I would like to know. And I actually learned a new thing about it last night when I was on with Retro, and he wanted me to make him big. And when I tried to make him big, it made me big and him little. And then he told me you have to drag his picture over and then it would make him big and make me little, which it did. So now I know how to do that, which I didn't know before how to do that. So I think you have to learn something new every day. So that's good that, I'm still learning about Restream.
I don't know much about Restream, but I want to learn how to do it for my new music channel, and that way I can restream it. But I like personal engagement. So I mean, it all have everything have a purpose, and so whatever the purpose is. So I mean, for music, you can always just listen to music, and that's good. And so I like it. I just never learned how to use the Restream. I tried. I do have Restream, and that's why it wasn't hard for me to connect with you. I think we have to be well rounded and open to learn different things and changes, because all I had to do was just connect to yours, and then I didn't have to do anything else because everything was ready to go. And that's the same way, even though I don't have it active, I do have the other one, the other streaming. And so when Big Jack or somebody I go on they show, I could just jump on, which I had some complications with some of them because I don't think some of them know how to do it either. And so you have to have a back door. So I did it one with the source, and then so we did it with the YouTube page. But we could have he could have just dropped the link because the link wasn't working from mail. So he could just dropped it into the audience. And so that's the thing, because you still have control over your channel. Because
Right.
if you don't open the door, they can't come in. It's like you in the backstage, and then they could come up only if you let them in. So I
Right.
mean, some people are
And,
so paranoid. I can't let y'all alone. I ain't gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link if I want to. You come on. I'm not gonna let you in. You're gonna be sitting
yeah,
in the lobby.
exactly. You have that, still have that control to be able to say, yes, you put them on the screen or you don't. Well, I've always done it the way that we did it, where I email the person the link, and then that way they can get things set up and we can test it out, make sure everything's good before we actually go live. But now, last night with my guest Retro, I didn't have an email to send it to him ahead of time. So when he came in the chat, I dropped the link, let him get the link, and then I took the link back out. And then that way I didn't have to worry about anybody else, trying to use that link to get in the back. And then I was able to put him up. And I don't know if he was able to stream it to his channel or not, but I know if you come in through the email, then you're connecting your channel and then you can stream it to both channels. But
I like
that's,
that.
I've got to learn all that too, of how to do it when somebody doesn't want to do it through the email, to make sure that it'll work. And I think I texted you the link. And so now I know how to go in and copy that link and then I can put it into text. So it's all a learning experience. But I had StreamYard for years and I didn't know everything about StreamYard either.
Yeah.
I guess I learned what I needed to know when I needed to know it, and then I could use it. But I don't know everything about all of them. And I use a program called Canva to make my videos, and then now I've been using Suno to make my music. So I just keep learning new things, and people have been so generous with me to show me different things, so that I could try them out and use them. I never thought I would be making my own music. So to me, it's so much fun. I get in there and I get lost because I'll make so many versions of the same song, and I just have a lot of fun playing around with it.
Mhm. I like Suno music. At first, I had it since January, and I did it for my birthday, and I just now uploaded like 6 songs. I don't know why I thought it was so hard. And if you don't know how to do it correctly, it is hard because they were saying you need a different software. But all I had to do was turn it into a video and then upload it straight like that through YouTube Studio. And when you don't know, it always seems harder and frightening until you try it. And sometimes you have to keep playing with it, even though you learn. One of the things I say, I know how to do a lot of things, but until you master it, it takes a while, and then you just keep trying. And that's all I do. I say I don't know how to do a lot of stuff, but I just keep playing with it and keep figuring it out. And then one day, we might think we mastered it, and then they change the system. And that's why you still have to be open and teachable. That's how I do it.
Well, and it's like I was saying before about technology, it's a wonderful tool, but it can't replace human input and human connection, And so it's great to use the technology and learn all those new things and everything. But I still want to be able to have, my face on here where people know I'm a real person, and, this is coming from me and from my heart. Um, Although these faceless channels, I got to give them credit. When I first started YouTube, they didn't have anything like that really. And so my friend Norma wanted to start a crafting channel. And she said, but I don't want to be on camera. And I was like, I don't know how you're going to do that. I think you have to be on camera. And so we both got used to being on camera. But now we know you can have a second camera and come in from a different angle and just show what you're doing on the craft or whatever. So it's just all a big learning process, I think. But I'm
So
glad to see. Go ahead.
how long you been a YouTuber?
For 3 years. I've had this channel for 3 years.
Okay.
I just had my third birthday. But I came to YouTube I would say about a year before that. I didn't have any cable television, and I wanted to know what was going on with the big C. And I like true crime, and there was a missing person, and I wanted to, find out about that. And I don't even remember who it was that told me, oh, they'll have news channels on YouTube and, things like that. So I started watching just for that kind of stuff. And it took me a while before I, was brave enough to start a channel.
Mm.
But I also thought YouTube was only for learning how to do things, like the how-to videos and stuff.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I didn't really know that there were just people that just got on and talked or, shared things or whatever. So it's been a progression of learning, but now I love YouTube. Even if I didn't have a channel, I would be just watching all kinds of things on there because I found all kinds of channels that I enjoy.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time consuming YouTube, and now being a contributor is more meaningful too. Even though you do both as a YouTube content creator, because you're watching other people information and then you giving yours, and so
Yeah.
it's idea of both worlds to enjoy and to be able to give and receive. So that's the important thing for me.
And I try to watch a lot of different content. I use the watch later um, list, I guess it is. And I'll, see something and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's interesting, but I don't have time right now. So I'll put it in watch later. And then later I'll go back. And then instead of watching regular television, I just watch what I've got in my watch later list. So I like doing that. But I also have found out you can't support everybody. When you start getting a lot of subscribers, then it's really hard to keep up with everybody's content, especially when people are putting out, 2 and 3 things a day and you've got hundreds of people that you're trying to watch. You can't watch everybody. I try though. I try really hard to watch as much as I can.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard, and another thing that I've learned as a YouTuber, you know, um, you have a backyard, back, whatever, and it's outside your YouTube channel. And so they have so many other channels, and whatever you watch the most and whoever you watch the most, that's the videos come. So sometimes it's not that you don't want to engage with people. Sometimes you don't be able to remember their channel names. And so if you don't remember it, unless they leaving comments or something and you engage with each other, YouTube not gonna push their video your way. And so it feel like you lost connection. But sometimes with a lot of people, it's a lot to try to involve everybody because you pulled in so many directions, and then you're trying to live life, and in the summertime in Minnesota, baby. So you want to be outside. And I know for me, I know people do a lot of stuff and they don't be on the camera. And if I learn how to do that, and I'm learning more just to be on there, and they get, at least they get the watch hours. Because if I'm trying to do this and that and that and this, sometimes it's hard. It's hard to engage, and so I'm learning now, like at night and stuff, I engage, I look at, I listen to the channel, and play the videos and stuff. And sometimes I might go to sleep on them. A lot of times I will because I'm tired,
Mhm.
but I want them to get their watch hours. And
Right,
when we learn that, then it's just like I listen to, some prayers and stuff at night, and it plays, and so I'm sleeping, or music, and that's how we have to learn that it's not that I'm not engaging, I'm still watching or listening, but it's in a different form of support, you
right.
know.
And I think that's the thing too. We all want to get our watch time, and it seems like it's such a struggle to get those hours to meet that requirement, to get monetized. But then even after you're monetized, you want people watching your stuff because then you're getting paid for the ads. And then
Yes,
it's like sometimes I feel like I should do something, and like not put any ads on it just so that people will be like, okay, here's a break. You don't have to watch ads on this one, or whatever. But I think that's just all part of it, you know.
it
And I
is.
think
It
I
is.
like people to come in my live stream where I can actually have right now a conversation with my chat as opposed to them just watching the video. Now, if they leave a comment, I'll try to comment back, but I still don't feel like we have a conversation at that time. So I do like it better when they're in the chat and I can actually acknowledge that they're here and read their question or, whatever like that. But I've had, because of having the grandbaby, I've had limited time that I could go live. So I will be able to go live a lot more now. And I'll probably go live more than putting out videos. I probably won't put out as many videos if I'm going live instead of trying to put out a lot of videos because I didn't go live that often. And I just saw somebody, Ounce of Paradise.
Yes,
Yes.
that's more
Hello.
pounds to the bounce. I wanted to say one thing, and I'm looking at the audience engaging, and I appreciate the audience engaging. One
Okay.
thing LaShonda's system said, that's why she keep her notebooks. And I've been having so many notebooks, so some people are more organized, and that is a good way to keep up with your audience. And she is so meticulous with it. She write down where she met them at, and she write down how many hours they had when she first met and stuff. I be trying some of that. All that don't. I mean, I be trying it. I just have not perfected it. I'm not well organized. But also, when you know your strength or weaknesses, that's good. And so I am trying to do better too. And I keep saying that. But I want to make a system where I go to certain people too, and then I look at my subscriber list and say, which they changed now too, because you have the people you subscribe to, and you have a subscriber list at the bottom when you can look up their name and say, "Oh, I haven't been to them in a while, or I'm gonna go to them." But YouTube also sometimes change people, and they take them off your subscriber list, and so you looking for them and you can't find them. And so that would be a good idea for the tablet. But I'm like, yeah, why they have their system too? But so yeah, and I appreciate all of them coming in. And one of the things, because I'm going daily from monetization, I tell people so they won't feel obligated. Don't feel like I'm gonna feel like they're not supporting me. While as I go live, I'm working towards my monetization, and so I'm intentionally going live every day, and so to push it, and then a lot more things happen. But also I'm learning you have to be active. For so long they were taking, there's so many oppositions that I had at work. One time I was going live for months, nobody was coming. I didn't know it was on private. One time I went live, and then other times I went by myself. And then also I noticed YouTube was doing weekly updates for my channel, and I found out that's not how they do it. They do it every day. So I contacted them yesterday, and this morning I woke up with more hours because they was cheating me out my hours. And there's no way to contest it if it's a week later. But I do sometimes take pictures of it and say, this is what they gave me. So now going forward, I'm going to be more proactive, especially since I'm pushing hard to get monetized. So when they don't respond, I want to know what's my number. I'm not going 2, 3 days. I want to know you have 72 hours. That's it. I'm not even giving you 72 hours. That's 3 days, but at least 3 days. They was going like a week. I'm like, no, that's not acceptable. So
Yeah.
we have to be willing to treat just YouTube as a business, if we're doing it as a business and not a hobby. And there's sometimes I'm not as assertive as I should be, because it is a business for me. I'm putting in all this work, and I'm putting out good contents. I'm researching. So I want to be taken as a serious component, not somebody on here playing, because I'm not playing. I'm pouring in, and I want to be rewarded.
Right. Hey, Retro, welcome. Um, my thing was is I got my hours before I got my subscribers, and then I had to
Oh,
work on getting my subscribers, and my year fell off, and then my hours started dropping, and then I had to get more hours. So it took me a while to get the hours and the subscribers, the same, to be able to get monetized. So I know that getting monetized is a struggle. And some people, I see videos, they say, they got monetized in a week or whatever. I'm like, I don't know how. I just really don't know how, because it just didn't work like that for me. And I don't think it works like that for the average, YouTuber. But you do have to put in the work and put in the time. And I'm kind of the same way. I want people to enjoy what I do, but everybody's got a life and everybody's got other stuff to do. And I've had people say, oh, I'm not a good, subscriber or whatever because I don't watch everything. Well, nobody can watch everything for everybody. So don't worry about that. Come in my live. That's what I like. I like just to see you come, stop by in the live. And I try to go live at different times too, so that, you can catch people in different time zones, especially because I have people all over the country and our time zones are so far different,
yes,
that it's already tomorrow there, and things
yes.
like that. So if you can catch them in to come in when you're on, then that's really good. Hello, Journey Mirror. Welcome. And somebody else, Anisha LTV came in on your side. Hello, hello. Welcome everybody in. If you have any questions for Miss Trishana, please put it in the chat and put like Q, 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 and then the question. Maybe I'll be able to see it. I just noticed somebody was doing that on their live the other day, and that made sense. That kind of make it stand out that it's a question and not just a comment.
Mm.
But
Well,
I learned from all the other creators. Um, yeah, that's right. I even took a nap so I could be on with retro last night at 10 o'clock because I knew I'd fall asleep, and I was yawning at the end of it, but I did stay awake for it. But
Echo, I get it. I get it. I be trying to stay up. Some of my my team players, they night hawks, and I'm like, God, I'm so tired. I'm already tired because I get up early in the morning. So by the time they get on, I'm tired. So sometimes I have to just take and make sure I'm taking care of myself. That's one of the things I would like to say. YouTube is an excellent thing, a family, a community, but making sure you take care of yourself, making sure you pouring into others, but make sure you pour into yourself. BJ, is that a question? One problem I have, I don't have a phone or a camera, so I can't get long footage. I use stock footage for most of my content. Now I'm doing it, and so you know what, BJ? Let me tell you this. One of the things you could do, and I do know some phones you only have so much limited space, but
yeah,
when you go live, it don't take your space. So if you're able to go live on your phone or computer because it uploads right away, if you feel comfortable going live, once you start going live, once you start it, it get easier. It may be scary at first. I try to have something to talk about, because if your audience engage with you and they talking to you, you feed off your audience. They ask you a
right,
question, like I don't say water yourself. Even if I said it and then I come back and say, yeah, you're right, ounce. You water yourself, and she did a video on that, because if you don't water yourself, then what happens is you get dried up. You can't be good for yourself, and then that's how you work it out. Your audience is so important, because your audience is the one that's going to drive you. Even so, sometimes you have your own agenda and plan. I did one about speak about yourself. People might come say, can you pray for me? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. And most of the people in our community, that's what we do. You say you're going through something, you celebrate, we'll stop and
Yeah.
we'll celebrate with you. You say your family having struggle or prayers. One person came on and say, can you help me with something? I'm like, if you need money, I can't help you, but I can help you with anything else. And the person wanted resources. I gave
Hmm.
her a resource and she gave me a resource. So she gave me 211, and I forgot about 211, because I don't work direct with clients anymore. But I know the 988, that's for crisis, mental health. 211 is for resources in the community. And I was
Okay, I
like,
didn't
thank
know
you.
that either.
Thank you. Yeah. So your audience is so important. And if you love on your audience, you validate them, you appreciate them, they will help you to grow. They will help you to develop. They'll make you look smart and you will shine, but you make sure they look smart and shine too, baby.
Well, and two, like with me, I never know where my conversation might go, and I'm talking to someone and then it might strike something up in somebody in the chat, and then we'll start talking with that person about the subject or whatever, and then before you know it, an hour's gone by and you really didn't talk about what you thought you were going to talk about, but you talked about what needed to be talked about at that moment. And that's what I like, to do. Sometimes you don't know who's dealing with what. A lot of people don't let you know what's going on in their personal lives. And so you don't really know what topics are going to strike something in somebody.
You
Um,
know what, BJ, let me tell you this. I echo you open up for questions, and I want to honor them. Because of disabilities. Let me tell you this, BJ, we all are differently able, and we all have strengths and we all have deficiencies. So even the trolls, some of these trolls just want attention. So what you
mhm,
have to do, you're gonna set it up, and then you when they go and try to come against you, sometimes you gotta ignore the trolls. But also what you have to do is, if they keep up, you just take and put them in timeout. Get you some trusty moderators, and let them know when they say inappropriate things. Put them in timeout, and if they continue to be pests, then block them. Lashonda Smith, Lashonda's system is in here, and so my time and some other people, they are taking put subscribers only mode for a half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever, and they even have it like as short as 5 minutes. And
mhm.
so
That's what I
that
do. I put mine
some
on 5 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, some people do that, and in that way, that sometimes the trolls don't want to stay around long enough to wait to come and aggravate you, And then so what you do is you take and do it like that, and then if somebody really want to be there for you, then they will stay around. But trolls gonna be trolls, and next week I'm gonna talk about trolls and how to cover yourself, because you know what, we on YouTube, if you out here, even if it's not just on YouTube, you'll be in the street. People could be nasty. I was getting off work one morning, and I was looking at the store window. This lady was at the opposite side I was, and she said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "Oh, I was just looking. I'm looking outward at the store." And then the lady got nasty, and so when I say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Oh, and did I burn up? I burned up so much because I smiled, and I say, "Oh, how you doing?" Because trolls just want some attention. Some of those trolls will become supporters because you did not buy into the craziness. I don't let them address my audience. I
Mhm.
don't let You can say whatever you want to me, and then I don't really like when they try to take and come against what you're saying. Especially if I'm direct trying to do a little message, because I do like to engage. I'll say, you hold your question, I'll come back. If they can't stop, like some of them might be trying to be slick, I say, if you don't know how to act, I'm gonna put you in a timeout. And
Right.
if you don't know how to act, I'm gonna block you. But the computer is analyzing and a lot of them gonna wind up getting put off off here anyway. Or sometimes maybe they like the trolls to be in here. I don't know.
Well, what I try to do is if I get a troll and they say something that, I don't want said, I'll remember what they said and I'll go into my blocked word list on YouTube
Yes, yes,
Studio and I put those words in there, and then that way, they'll have to say something different next time. But I had a certain troll who what he said was not bad. It was the way that he was saying it. And so
yes,
I had to go in there and block some words that normally to me are not offensive, but because of the way that he was doing it. And then I don't know if he just stopped bothering me or, what. But I kind of feel the same way. Sometimes the trolls are people who don't have good family support, or they don't have their own friends, or it could even be a group of people sitting around and it's like fun. It's kind of like when we were kids and we did crank phone calls.
yes.
It's not harmful, it's not done to really be mean, it's just they get some kind of enjoyment out of doing it. And so I try not to get too upset about it, but my main focus is I don't want them upsetting my audience. If I have people in here that are being nice and following the rules, and then you get somebody coming in being disrespectful or something like that, then I don't like that. And I pretty much will do that too. I'll let them know, hey, that doesn't fly with me. And if you keep it up, I will time you out. And then there's some people that have disabilities that they just don't understand social interaction. And so
Yes.
they'll say something which they don't mean it to be disrespectful, but it's just the way it comes across. And so I try to find out about those people. And then I can say, like, well, so and so, I know that they have autism. So they may come in and say something that you may take offense to, but they don't mean it in an offensive way. And then if it gets to be too much, then I just go ahead and time the person out. And then we don't have to, worry with that. But you're going to have that if you're on a public
Exactly.
platform and anybody can tune in and watch. You're going to have all kinds of things. I watch a couple of ladies who share the word of God, and they will get lots of trolls coming in. And you just have to have good moderators that will take care of the situation if it arises. And I think too, going vertical live makes a whole big difference, because when you go vertical, it's on the short feed and you get all kinds of people in there. That's why I like to go the horizontal way, and I like to put it on subscriber for 5 minutes, and then hopefully I'm not going to get as much of that. But you got to be prepared just in case it comes along.
You're right. You're right. And you made some valid points. There's an area where you go in your YouTube studio and you do put block words. And then that way the computer will handle it. I agree. But I was
Mhm.
sitting up here and I laughed because Boogie said she take a picture of them and she go back and she troll their page. I'm like, that is
Well,
too
and you
funny.
can report them too. Especially if you put them in, like a block, you block them off your page. You can also then report it to YouTube and let them know, hey, this person, is not being good. But I think too, like I have a really good friend that lives in Belgium. And when I first met her, I thought she was a troll only because her little picture, it was like a face, but it had like a color screen over top of it. So the face was kind of distorted. And I looked at that and I was like, yeah, this person's a troll. And so I was playing a word game, and I was like, well, I'm just going to talk to him and see, because it was in the morning. It wasn't like, late at night or anything. And so I started talking to this person. And, you don't never know if somebody's male or female by their name on their YouTube handle. Sometimes you can't tell. So I didn't know if it was a male or if it was a female or, anything about him. So I started asking questions, and we had a little conversation and found out. Very nice lady, lives in Belgium, is a fashion designer. just as nice as she could be. But because I was so new to YouTube and I just saw that picture and didn't recognize the name, I automatically was like, "Oh, it's a troll, it's a troll," you know. And
Exactly.
it really wasn't. And now she's a dear friend, and I hate that I thought that about her in the beginning, but that's just the way I was new to YouTube as well. So now I don't really get too offended. Sometimes I'll look at the names and I'll think, well, this person's name doesn't sound like they're going to be very nice, you know, but then they turn
Okay.
out to be a really nice supporter. So I think it just depends on if you take the time to get to know people and whether you're going to let it bother you. Because I think the trolls know if you get flustered by it and get upset, then they're like, oh, this is even better. Let me keep going, you know. And
Yes.
I kind of be like, I see you, but I'm not responding to you right now. We got Rivers of Life Ministry. Hello, hello, welcome. So,
So, Echo, there's a question on the floor, and also I wanted to say this.
okay.
The other day, just this other day, this week past, a guy came in and he say, "I like purple. What's your color, favorite color?" He say hi, and I say, "Oh, that's how you do it." And then he turned around and he said, "I was trolling you." And then he stayed the rest of the day because I bust out and laughed. I laughed because I thought he had it in letters, and I know after he said that, but I don't always think about it because now you could use cap letters. Cap
Right.
letters used to indicate that you was yelling at a person or something, and so I laughed. But a bounce, okay, okay, bounce asked a question, but Lashonda gonna handle it in a upcoming video, so I'll let her do it. She does
Okay,
it so
because I
well
was
with her.
looking, trying to find the
Yeah, that's okay. Lashonda owned it, baby. She gonna teach it. Hey, my friend, River of Life Bishop. Yeah, Apostle Caller. Yeah, so that's why community is so important because community feeds you, community helps you. You know, community grows and develop together. You know, this is so short. We could tell her, but it's a process, and that way she could get it. That way, if she have more questions after, it can happen because with this short time, we don't want to just stay focused on that. I would have gave her a quick spiel, but Lashonda got it. So thank you, Lashonda.
and Lashana knows her business about YouTube, y'all. I know she's trying to help people get monetized, but I became a member to her channel because I want to learn from her too. Even though I've been on here for 3 years and I'm already fully monetized, I know there's things that I can learn from her. And so I
Exactly.
definitely want to support her and learn, you know, what I can. Hello,
Yeah.
Isabella. Welcome. And I guess that Rivers of Life Ministry is Carla,
Yes.
or she's saying hello to a Carla.
No, that's her name. Her name
That's her name,
Apostle
Carla.
Carla.
Okay. Well,
She's
welcome,
saying
Carla.
hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
She's saying Apostle Carla is here. She's telling you who she is.
Oh, okay. Good.
That's one
Good.
of my friends. We do a lot of different things together. So
Okay.
that's what she was
Good.
telling you who she is. So yes.
And I just want to say that I'm proud to see other YouTube creators who are not afraid to speak the word of God. It for a long time I had gotten advice never to say anything about religion or anything like that. And so I didn't at first, but I wasn't being true to myself and I wasn't being true to God. And I decided that I'm going to have to just, you know, deal with whatever consequences might come from that. And I have had nothing but positive, you know, response from it. So I'm glad that I feel comfortable now enough to do that. And I tend to look for other people who are, you know, live it. Like you said, you can't just preach, you have to live it because people have to be able to see from your life and how you are as a person that you truly do have the Holy Spirit. So I'm glad Boogie Time said, yes, we can all learn from each other. That's right. Nobody knows everything. That's for sure. Especially not when it comes to YouTube, because they're liable to change things in the middle of the.
And they do, and they have since I've been on here.
BJ says, one problem I have with monetization is that I have to pay both US and Canadian taxes. So I end up with about 34% of the earnings and it's not worth it. Well, that's true, BJ. I guess I didn't think about that. That being that you are in another country, you would have that issue. I know the states do that. If you live in one state and work in another state, like
Yes.
Florida, I don't think Florida has state income tax, but Georgia does. So if you live in Georgia and you work in Florida, you still have to pay Georgia income tax on the money you earned in Florida. So yeah, that's all taxation with the government. I don't understand all of it, but that is true.
Yes.
Shonda says it's like reading a great book. You get to know the chapters of their life. That's true.
Yes. Yes.
That's true.
Yes. Yes, but we have to be careful too, though, because I heard you say this, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Echo. But you say you look at names. Some people do names without even thinking about it, and that's not their goal. Is my name is to be, I'm gonna be a troll, and so we have to be careful that we don't misread the book either.
That's
People,
right.
if you be around them enough, they're gonna tell you who they are. You just have to be open and listen and not be we not just you, but we can't be so quick to judge, because that's judging. I be praying all the time, God, don't let me be judging or self-righteous, because like you say, when we was children, I was mischievous too. I remember saying, hey, is your refrigerator running, or your icebox
Yes.
at that time? Well,
Yes.
you better go catch it. So we did things, and we have to know that everybody is not out to be malicious. Not some of them are nasty and malicious, but some of them just don't know how to fit in. Just like you were saying with autism, some people
Hmm.
know how to read contact clues, so they trying to fit in and they can't. They don't know how to fit in. So what seemed like a harmful or seem mean and nasty really is not. So I'm glad that you have taken out the time to even learn people, because sometimes we close down people before we even get to know them. Now, some people definitely, I agree. They need to be shut down because that's their hearts. But as you grow and learn, you will learn. People will tell you who they are. We just have to be patient. And sometimes we don't have patience. There's a lot of children on here, and some of them trying to be trolls. Some of them trying to follow what the crowd do. So you don't want to throw the baby away with the bathwater either.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, and you don't want to have it become an issue with your other viewers either. It's like you want everybody to feel welcome and comfortable in your chat, and so you don't want to be. And most of the time, if I get somebody new in my chat, it's somebody that I've probably watched a video of or saw them in another live stream, and maybe we had a chit chat or something, and then I'll usually pick up and remember, be like, oh yeah, where do I know you from? Oh yeah, I know you from so and so's chat or whatever.
Mhm.
Hey Dawn, the crafty visage, hello, hello. But now that I've changed my name, every time I go somewhere, just about, I feel like I have to say, oh, you know me, it's Echo. It's like, just because the name is different, it's still me. But my handle didn't change. So it's still Scott, the living my best life. So a lot of people still are recognizing that part. But I think as you grow on YouTube and you change as a person, things about your channel are going to change, and you may change your name, or you may start a new channel, or you know there's any number of things that can happen.
Yeah, yeah.
you
And
know
like I said, for me, a River of Life, I made you a moderator so you could follow LaShonda now. Let me tell you, for me, it's a ministry. It's not just about being popular. It's not about making money, because I even seen somebody in the chat say all money not good money. I think it's real life. So we have to be mindful of what we are doing and why we're doing it. What's our why? Are we on here just to be another YouTuber? Or we on here to make an impact and make changes in people's lives? Because I could be
exactly.
doing a whole lot of stuff with my time, and so my time is valuable. So because my time is valuable, I don't want to waste it. I want to make sure that what I'm doing, I'm making deposits into my heavenly account. And with my heavenly account is not just for me. I made deposit way back when that now my grandchildren could get. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
blessed so many other people. So now my grandkids and my son and stuff, even when I'm gone, they will still be living off of what I did. And so we have to be careful. Everything you do today, you will meet it in the future. If you nasty, mean, and ugly, you might change, but you're gonna meet some of that. And sometimes people say God is punishing us. No, it's the consequences for what you did yesterday. You know, God love you,
Exactly.
God will walk with you, but you still have to get over those seeds you sowed. And because you have to, sometimes we think, well, God has abandoned me. No. What choices are you making today for tomorrow? Because they will not, might not, maybe they will visit you tomorrow. Those
Mm-hmm.
seeds of harvest gonna come.
That's exactly right. That is so true that, everything bad and negative that doesn't come from God. God doesn't do mean, hateful, spiteful, things to us. He is there to help us. And anything, if it's really bad, it's either from the devil, or it's the fact that you made wrong choices in your life and now you're paying the consequences of those choices. And so
Exactly.
many people are so quick to blame it on God. God did this to me, or God did that to me. No, you did that to yourself. You just didn't know any better, maybe, and that's why you made those wrong choices. But we have to be accountable for what we do and the choices that we make. And that's why I feel like, yes, God has a plan for us. He has a path for us to take. His way is the straight and the narrow. You get there fast. Our way is all the wrong turns and going on detours and going this way and then having to come back and all of that. And so, I've learned in my life it's just easier for me to try to follow what God has for me. And I also believe the same thing about blessings. People say, oh, but I'm such a good person. Why isn't God blessing me? He's blessing Sally over here, and Sally isn't even that good of a person. And, she gets blessings, and I'm this really good person, but I don't get blessings. Well, by you even thinking that you're a good person, that's probably why God is not blessing you. You can't say what you are. You have to show what you are and be who you are. And God is going to bless you. If He's got blessings for you, no man can stop them, and no man can make them come in a different time. They're going to come when God
Exactly.
wants them to come
Exactly.
and just how God wants you to have them. And I waited 10 years to have my daughter, and I couldn't understand why God wouldn't let me have a baby. I just could not understand it. What was I doing wrong? And, once I prayed, okay, if it's not your will for me to have a baby, then take this desire away from me, because I can't live wanting it so badly and not being able to have it. And after I prayed that prayer, a couple months later, I was pregnant and I had my daughter.
Mm.
So sometimes it's not what you ask for, it's how you ask for it. And you can't just demand that God do things for you. You have to be open to what He wants for you, not
Yeah.
what you want for yourself.
Yes.
That's right. Boogie Time says,
Echo.
don't covet. That's right.
Yes, God brings. See, this is what we don't realize. We think blessings is something always like a house or car. God said He rain on the just as well as the unjust. So there's always rain. There's people
Mm-hmm.
that look like they're prosperous and they say God. So some of the things people may have gotten, it may not even be God. Some people, you say a covenant, covenant, but sometimes we come in covenant with things that God did not say. So covenant, God say His blessings are yea and all amen. So sometimes we're not prepared, like you say, we're not prepared to receive the overflow. Because if your heart is not able to contain it, God is not going to give you something you cannot handle. For as you know, if He gave you everything you asked for, it may cause your soul to be lost. So
Mm-hmm.
God would rather your soul to be blessed than for you to die and go to hell because you wanted all this fancy, flashy things not mature enough to handle. It's like your children or your grandchildren or someone, you have a car and they may have a desire to drive, But what it look like you giving a 3, 4, 5, 10 years old child a car,
Exactly.
and then they on a highway. Now some farm children do learn how to drive early, but they
Mhm.
drive on these open roads, so they teach them how to maneuver and handle. So we want things that we're not mature enough. I remember last year when DoorDash went viral, I was excited, and it really was like overwhelming, because I was like, oh wow, I want to go viral. And then it took me back. I had to relax and recenter myself, because I wasn't prepared to go viral. I wouldn't have been able to sustain it, because YouTube have guidelines and principles, and if you don't know how to handle them, you will become dismonetized. You
Yes.
will also sell your soul out for a subscriber, instead of working and becoming and doing what you need to do to sustain this YouTube platform. Because YouTube for me is not just about monetizing, but it's about equipping, it's about encouraging. But also, I'm out here. People cannot find you unless you're available. It may not be. Sometimes we think we're on something for one reason, but God can have people looking for you to come minister to their team. God could look for you, for some you to come and be a team builder in their organizations. They're always looking for speakers. They're always looking for someone to motivate, encourage, inspire. So what your goal may not be God. So my thing is, Tim Story did a book called he said a good idea or a God idea. You want a good idea or a God idea. A God idea sustain you. A good idea may be good for so long, and a good idea may put you in positions where you don't want to be. So all those things is what we have to think about before we run into these different things. I don't want to I'm gonna talk about Hollywood. Hollywood got a lot of flashy stuff, but you finding out now behind that flash is a lot of pain, a lot of
Hmm.
broken promises, a lot of brokenness. So that could have been you, that could have been me. Why? If we chasing after something and not know the outcome, if you don't know what is involved in some things, you chasing a nightmare, not a dream. Wake up the dreams within you. God have giants in us. Release the giant. Walk in the fullness. Walk where God is bringing you, and bringing you into places people are calling your name. Miss Do It Yourself is on here. I think she did a video way back when, that God call, if it's not her, with somebody else, God will bring you in places, and people is calling your name before you get there. They know you and you don't even know them. So trust me, this YouTube and other things, you going worldwide, and people know you and you don't know them, and they come up to you, hey, and you looking at them like, who are you? Because they feel like you are their family, and they know you, and you have to take a step back and say, hey, who are you again? And I'm honest, me, I don't remember you. And they might say, oh, I know you off of YouTube, because we in people homes, we're on televisions. So we have to be responsible for what we're putting out, because whatever you put out will come back. Is it something you want when the light is shined on you? Is it something you want to be like, I didn't mean to put that back. I. You put it out there. Now you have to go back and backtrack, and maybe you've changed. So we have to be careful. That's the only thing I'm saying. You have to be
Well, and how
careful.
many times did you want something you really, really thought it was a good thing, a good idea, a good, maybe relationship or whatever, and you really thought it was great, but there were red flags and there were, things that maybe you should have picked up on, but instead you went for it, and then later on, afterwards, you can look back and see, if I had only listened, if I had only paid attention, I wouldn't have had to go through that pain and that heartache or whatever. So I have definitely decided that my life, I'm here for a reason. Whatever God wants to do with me, that's what's going to happen. And when I came on YouTube, I never thought I would get monetized. That was it. That was something I thought, oh, it's just too hard. It'll never happen. And the more I didn't try, it was like the more God said, yeah, this is what you're going to do. This is what we need to do. And once I became monetized, which let me tell you, you really have to work hard if you want to make some money. You know, you do get paid, but you don't get paid anything worth what your time is worth on YouTube, unless you're a big, huge YouTuber. And so the money to me doesn't matter. I do giveaways. I would just as soon give that money to somebody if it would help somebody. I was on a chat one day and the lady said she needed something to eat. And I don't know if that was a true statement or not. But I said, you know what? I made money off of YouTube this month. I can give her a little bit of money for her to get something to eat. So I'm not into YouTube for the money. I'm definitely here for the connection and to be able to meet people and see where they're at in their lives. And if there's anything I can do to help anybody, that's what I want to do. And if I can tell you about God along the way, hey, that's even better. And if that's not your thing and you don't want to hear about it, then click off my video and watch something else. But I do videos other than just about, my relationship with the Lord. I do other things too. So I think that, there's something for everybody on YouTube. Just depends on what you're looking for, whether you'll find, people that you'll connect with and things that you'll enjoy. Lashana said, when Doe went viral, it was an exciting time, and she's at 84K now. She's dipped and came back. And that's the truth. YouTube is fickle. You might go viral today and have nobody watching you tomorrow. And I look at some of the YouTubers that have, 100,000 subscribers, and they get less views than we get when we only have 1,000 subscribers. So I think to me that interaction, and do you have people that actually show up in your lives and support you and watch your videos? Those are the people that mean something to me. Just because you have numbers doesn't mean you have that connection and that contact with people. So you can chase the numbers or you can chase the connection. I don't think you can have them both though. But
I agree. I did my live talking about metric lie, but consistency doesn't, so, and one of the things, I'm a certified John Maxwell coach, and John Maxwell say motivation gets you going, but consistency keep you growing. So you have a desire, but then now you have to turn that desire into something meaningful. So yeah, I can motivate you, and yeah, you come and you hear a motivating message, inspiring, and I'm gonna do unless you put action to it and practicality. You just sit there, and then the next person come and they hype you up. That's that song. There's a song on YouTube say, hype me up, hype me up. Sometimes you got to hype yourself up.
yeah,
Sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader. Sometimes you have to be the one clapping for yourself. Why? Because everybody's not going to always be there when you are low. Sometimes you're in your house and nobody here but you and God. God is faithful. God has been faithful all my life. When I ain't
yeah,
had nobody, my family, whatever, God still have been true. And he will be true until the day I die. So you know what? All this stuff, all this glitter, it might be shiny and sparkly, but it ain't real. I want real, true identity. I want people who are real. You know what? Guess what? I'm gonna be honest. If you're a real criminal, be a real criminal until God deliver you. If
mhm,
you're a real liar, be a real liar until God deliver you. I don't want you to pretend that you who you not, because what's gonna happen, I'm gonna find out. I see people, I could see. I see things before it happened. And so you can't deceive me, because my discernment of God is so sharp in my life. So they people say not tuition and tuition in having the discernment. It's like scary, because sometimes you know what's gonna happen before it happened, and you have to just sit there. And sometimes I have to say, God, forgive me because you already told me. God, forgive me because you already showed me. But I wasn't obedient. So sometimes people think they got you, but I already seen you and knew what you was gonna do before you thought I did. So I just
mhm.
look back and say, okay. Hmm.
And that's right about obedience. When I had my fall the other couple weeks ago, God had been putting stuff on my heart and I had been thinking about things, but I hadn't really stopped to deal with things. And when I had my fall, it was like God said, stop, you know, listen, hear me, and I wasn't being obedient. I was trying to live to make everybody happy and do everything I needed to do for everybody else, not necessarily for myself and not necessarily what God wanted me doing. And so I did need that, and sometimes we need correction and sometimes God has to do things like that to wake us up, to make us focus. But thank goodness we have a loving Father who will stop and correct us instead of just letting us go on about our way and having a horrible life because of it. So I am thankful for that. But we all have to be obedient in our lives, and it's so easy to get, I call it getting the big head, that you think you know everything and you can do it by yourself and you don't need to, you know, remember that you're nothing without God. So,
Amen.
it's like you can think all you want to think about yourself, but you better be praising God at the same time.
Yes.
Thank you, Boogie. Yes, I'm doing much better now. Thank you. So sometimes, you things happen and you think, well, why did that happen? But that particular time, it was like I knew exactly why it happened and what it was for, why I needed to do that. Which you don't usually get that. Sometimes it's after the fact. You look back at a situation and say, oh, I see. Okay, now I know what I was supposed to be doing. But that was pretty strong message I got. So
Yeah.
Lashana says, I talked about the big head yesterday on my live. That's right. We can get so full of ourselves if we let ourselves. We really can.
I guess God be laughing at us saying,
Yeah. It's like, oh, you
laughing
think
at
you're
us,
something. Yeah, exactly.
laughing
Uh,
at us. This is a funny thing. I could just see God sitting up there laughing at us. You know why? Because dirt, we made from dirt, right? The
yeah,
red clay in Mississippi and down south, brown dirt, dark, rich dirt. But dirt is dirt no matter what. So God be sitting there laughing at us. I'm talking about you and I'm dirt.
yep, exactly. Exactly. Can you make anything out of dirt? Can you take a pile of dirt and make it into anything? Just dirt by itself? I can't, you
No,
know.
only
So
God can.
yeah, only God can. And I don't know if you've lived any kind of life, how you cannot believe that there is some kind of higher power. You may call it a different name than I call it, but there are just too many things that have happened in my life that if there wasn't somebody, I don't know how they would have happened. And I don't know how anybody goes through the miracle of birth and they don't believe that there's a God. It's, to me, it is the most miraculous thing in the world. And I just don't understand people who don't get it after that. But
Amen.
I saw somebody was
Amen.
talking about they're expecting a baby. I wish you all the best. Love that baby and love every minute you get to spend with that baby.
Yes, yes. All good and perfect gifts come from above.
And
So
it
honor
doesn't
that
matter.
God has given you that ability to not just only conceive, but to be able to carry. So there's so many things that go with it that we don't even realize that the power of birth.
Yep.
Power of birth is so. I
It
don't
is.
even know how to
It
put
is.
it in words.
And the thing about raising a child, don't let the world and society catch you up in material things. The most valuable, important thing you can give a child is love. And through that love, they will trust you and they will uh, make that connection with you and then teach them about God. That's all we really have to do. People get so caught up in, oh, they have to have this and they have to have that. Yes, they have to have clothes and you have to feed them and they need a place to live. I'm not talking about those kind of things. I'm talking about all the excess that, people think kids need and kids want. They want your time, they want your love. And I think we're so busy out there making money, working to make money to give people material things that we don't give them enough of our time. And
Yes.
that's what's important. And I am so thankful. When I first became disabled, I said, God, I don't understand. Work was very important to me, but God had other plans. He had a plan for me to be able to be here to help raise my granddaughter. If I hadn't become disabled and stopped working, I wouldn't have been here available to watch my granddaughter the last 4 years that I've watched her, and helped my daughter out by doing that, and be able to have that strong connection with my granddaughter because of having all that time to spend with her. But at the time I became disabled, I couldn't understand that. I couldn't see that far ahead. I didn't know that's what the future held.
Yeah.
So now when bad things happen, I don't think like, why did you do, why did this happen? I think, what is coming? What am I getting ready for? What is he putting me in the right position and the right place for what's going to come up ahead? Because I don't know what that is. But
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited for the next chapter to see where life takes me now. I'm
Amen.
thoroughly excited to see. And I praise God that I've lived as long as I've lived, because there was definitely a time that my health was so poor that I didn't think I would live very long. So I am
Yes.
so thankful that my health is getting straightened out and I've got energy and I feel like I can live life. Lashana says, when you find your purpose, you have everything you need. Exactly. Dawn said, sometimes parents have to work so much to support their family and keep a home, it takes away from the extra time worth the children. They are tired. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too, for me, Echo, and that's why I don't be so in a hurry. Like a lot of these children are gonna be out of school, so you're gonna find more in your, in your audience. And some of these children, their parents are doing the best they know how, but the children are just everywhere, and so it takes a village, and so it can't just be about us. What would you do, or what would you want to be done for your grandkids or your kids? So you are able to be there for your grandchild. But we are a village. So I have grandchildren that's not mine. If I see them
Hmm.
doing something wrong, I'm going to correct them. I'm going to be there. And that's what I do in my chat. And some people are directable and some not. And some haven't. When I was, years ago, when I was an intervention coordinator, I had to work with kids, and I thought that you get a certain age, and you learn different things, or your reality was mine. So some of the children never did and been and had things that you have. They experiences differently from yours. They raised themselves. Their parents working 2 or 3 jobs. Some of them have to get themselves ready for school. Some of them have to cook, clean, and all of those things. So
Hmm.
that's a lot of responsibility. So they come on here and they be like little kids. And you could tell their age from the way they speaking. And they be
Hmm.
like little kids trying to be, and even if they're not little kids, there are little kids. Chronologically, they may not be, mental they are. And so I'm treating them like a kid, you know?
Yep. You're right. I know one young man that comes in my chat, that I've known. I met him pretty much when I first started my channel. And I don't see him often. He comes in, maybe every 6 months or so, I'll see him. But I took the time to get to know him and his mom and his situation. And so when I do see him, I can ask him, how is school going? How's your mom doing? That kind of thing. Because they need support too. I mean, it's
Yes,
not just adults that need it.
yes,
Everybody needs it. And that's the thing. it's either a blessing or a curse when it comes to YouTube, that we are in people's homes. We are with people 24/7 all over the world, not just here in our own country, in all the different countries. And that I love learning about different cultures and different countries and how life is different. I mean, we all do similar things in our daily lives, but there are really a lot of differences in a lot of different countries and things. And I'm glad that I can learn that from YouTube and from people being on YouTube. But you do have to be careful because you never really know who you're talking to. And you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or, say something that would hurt the person. And you do have to kind of be careful. And I kind of, when I get, especially when I get comments from new people on videos and things, I always try to go and check out if they have a channel or not, and see who they are, because I'm intrigued as to why did they watch my video? Like what is going on in their life or whatever, that they connected with my content, and now I want to connect with them. So I do that a lot. If somebody leaves me a comment or whatever, I will try to go and check out their channel. But the subscriber thing is not all your subscribers, especially when you're in YouTube Studio. Those are only your public subscribers. Those are
Yes.
the ones that have it set to public. If you have it set to private, then you won't see their names there. And I didn't understand that at first. And I would think, well, why are they not my subscriber anymore? And it's not that they're not, it's just that they're private. They're not public. So it makes a difference when
That's
you look
true.
at that list. That's
That's
right.
true.
Pastor Visage says love is universal and kindness. Exactly. And I find it very fascinating how people, are raised. And my daughter teaches third grade. And some of the stories that she has told me about the lives of some of the kids that she teaches, it's just, I grew up in the 60s, and it was like I lived that white picket fence kind of childhood, um, or so I thought. And so many kids don't have that. They don't even have a family unit, so to speak. And I don't know, my heart goes out to them.
Yeah, when I tell my son them I'm keeping my grandchildren, I keep them 1 week in a month, and they be so excited. You could just read the page, you could flash the page, you could like, yeah, okay, yeah. I be laughing. I laugh because everybody need a break, but as you give people breaks, make sure you're giving yourself a break.
Oh,
You give everybody
definitely.
grace. Make sure you give yourself grace. We oftentimes just we worry and think about everybody else. Make sure you take care of you, and not in a selfish way, but in a loving way, because you are your own cheerleader. You are the person that God created to be the one to take care of yourself. On an airplane, they tell you, it sounds selfish, put your own oxygen on, because in the reality, if you don't, you can't help that next person, and so both of you may perish. So take care of you first. You extend a olive branch and help others, but no matter what, I'm gonna go back and say, make sure you taking care of yourself. Is your oxygen tank on? Are you loving yourself? Are you giving yourself grace? And then extend it out to other people. Are you saying yes to everybody else and no to yourself? Do you put yourself in your calendar? You have to make sure you have the fortitude to keep going. We can't keep going if we don't take care of ourselves. We only have one body, we only have one life. And yes, I am a giver. Yes, I support people, but when I'm tired, I'm tired. And it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say no. Because if I
Yeah.
don't say no to you, I'm saying no to myself. Those are times, are precious times. Put yourself in the calendar. Look at your calendar. They don't have to know it's you. Oh, let me check my calendar. Oh no, I
Hmm.
can't do it. Oh, it's a conflict.
Well,
You don't owe people the explanation as why you can't. I can't do it at this time. I don't have the time available. That's all. People will try to pressure you into doing what they want you to do, but you have to make sure you take care of you. That's my take in it.
Yeah. And I've learned too, because it used to be where I didn't value my own plans. And so when
Yes,
someone would say this, that, or the other, even if I had made a plan for myself, I would say, okay, I can do that another time and I'll do what they wanted. Whereas now I'm pretty much about balance. And if I plan to do something for me, or something that I'm going to go and enjoy, then that's just as important as something I'm
yes,
going to do to help somebody else. And so
yes,
I used to not like to cancel lives. I used to say, oh, I'm going to be live every Wednesday, and then something would come up and then I would feel bad because I couldn't go live then. Now I'm like, no, if I will even schedule no live on some days, just so that I have a day that I can do what I need to do without having to feel like I've let somebody down by saying I was going to do it and I didn't do it. Whereas before I would be like, yes, I will do it, and then feel bad about it. Why are you going to feel bad about it? So I don't do that anymore. And I definitely try to make plans with my in-person friends and my family that's here, and not spend all my time just on YouTube. But on the other hand, too, I need time to spend with God. I need time to spend in my garden. I need to, there's so many parts of each of us that you have to honor those things, and you have to make time. You can't just always be giving everything you've got to everybody else, because you're going to burn out. And then when you're sick, who's going to take care of you? You know,
exactly,
so
exactly.
I try to be a loving mother and grandmother, and I try to do my best for my friends and things like that. But I've also am learning to love me. And if you only knew how much God loves us, you can afford to love yourself just a little bit, you know. So if He thinks you're worth it, then you're worth it, and you need to take that time for yourself and try to figure out what it is you like to do. You're not a slave to working for somebody else all the time and doing what everybody else it makes everybody else happy. What about what makes you happy? Sometimes you just have, and I don't look at it as being selfish either. I look at it as being self-care, that if
Yes,
I don't take care of me, who's going to take care of me?
yes,
And I don't want to get to the end of my life and have a bunch of regrets because I didn't make time to do what I wanted to do or what was important for me to do. And
exactly.
God will let you know. He'll let you know what you're supposed to be doing. If you just can listen, He'll tell you exactly what it is He wants you to do. And it may go against your flesh. It may be something you think, no, but I can't. I can't do that. Yes, you can. And He'll give you the strength to do it if that's where He leads you to go, you know.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I'm in a place now that I'm so happy with life. Even though my life's not perfect, I don't have everything I would want or, you know, uh, can do, but I'm pretty content. So that's a good thing. Lashana said, I totally agree. Yes. You can help others, but you got to help yourself.
Agree.
I spent so many years not knowing who I was. I was somebody's employee, I was somebody's wife, I was somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. But who was I, you know? And I try to teach my daughter to that it doesn't matter how many hats you wear, all the different things you have in your life, you have to know who you are yourself, and you have to take care of that person. And that'll make you a better mother and a better friend and a better employee, you know. So, and I watch my daughter anytime she wants me to. I want her to have a social life. I want her and her husband to have date nights. I want her to go out with her friends from work. I want her to go to, if some of her class students have a ball game and she wants to go to that ball game, I want her to feel comfortable saying, Mama, can you watch her and let me go to this ball game and support my kids, or whatever. I'm like, yes, yes, anything.
That's amazing, Echo. But my son and them live like 2 hours away, and so
Yeah, well, see,
I
I
do.
couldn't, I couldn't live away from mine.
I
I would be like, please let me come closer.
I do schedule it though, because even if I went closer, I still want to have some identity time of myself. I
Oh
still
yeah,
want to do the things that God calling me to do. Because,
right,
like you said, you pour into so many other people and you do stuff for everybody else. I'm learning who I am again. If anything, I would leave is wake up your dreams, because sometimes we do everything else because it is needed. You have to take care of your children. You have to take care of your husband if you have a husband. But you have to also make sure, especially once you get older, your children out the door. We can't, some people want to live vicariously into their children. No, I want my children to live their life, and I'm going to live my life, and I still have things. So, they going off and they doing their thing. So they don't have to
mhm,
feel like, what about mama? Mama going to do what mama going to do. And that's because I kept it separate, and I love my son. And if I could help them, they need help right now, I will do everything I can. But I still have a separation so that they will know that is my life and their life, and we don't intertwine the two. That's just me, because sometimes as parents, we it's hard, and it makes it hard for them too. You want to be there for them, but you don't want to be their God. You don't want to rescue them from everything, because then if something happened to you, then they feel like, they devastated. They can't move or survive until and I'm not saying for you, I'm saying for me. They have to be able to take care of themselves. They have to be able to go on. Today or tomorrow, God takes me. I don't want my son to be broken. My prayers all the time that he celebrate me. He move on, because you know what? I'm not God. I'm your mother. And because I'm your mother, I don't want to be put in that position. And so therefore, like I let them know when I'm keeping them next week. This month. They can make plans around that. They was excited. I need to hear an answer from you, because I do have a life too. That
right,
way, if you don't answer, then if something come up, I'll take that spot, and I'll put it somewhere else. And therefore, we learn to validate and appreciate each other. Not saying your daughter, because some people have boundaries. Some people know, like, I'm gonna ask my mama, or I'm gonna see if she could do it. But some people, like, my mama gonna do it. When you
yeah,
don't have a life, I have a life. I want to live a life. I want to be able to say, if somebody say you want to go traveling, sure. You might have to pay for it these days, but I want the freedom. I did my job as a mother. I did my
right,
job as a daughter. I took care of my mom before she transitioned. She transitioned in 2018. I'm at the stage of my life, and it may sound selfish or mean, I want to live my life. Apostle gonna send me some money for glasses, y'all, and she gonna send me and pay for my trip. She don't know about the trip part, but she already confessed to the glasses. So that's what we want to do. We want to hold them, help them, but we want them to be accountable for their own lives. And I'm not saying nothing to you. I'm saying for me, that's how I operate.
yeah. Well, and I admit, there was a time when I had to put boundaries, and I had to say, okay, you have to respect my time. I am more than willing to help you, but I'm not going to do it just for nothing. You're going to have to respect the fact that I am helping you, and that, and it works perfectly for us. But I know from my own, when I had my daughter, I had no one to leave her with. I was, totally the only one to take care of her. So I know how important that is. And that's something I want to be there to do for my daughter and my granddaughter. But even now, like during the summer, she's home from school. My granddaughter is there at home. And I get to pick and choose when I go and visit them, and when I let my granddaughter will come here or whatever. And you have to work it out to where it is a balance. You definitely don't want anybody taking advantage of you. I don't care who it is. You have to have those boundaries in place. And if my daughter said tomorrow I'm moving to Alaska, and you won't be seeing us, I would be heartbroken, but she's a
I
grown
would too.
woman.
I
She's
would too.
married, she has a child, she has a job. If that's where her life takes her, okay. Now when she was 17, I would have said, okay, I'm going too. But now that she's grown, I don't think I would feel that way, but I would want to see them more often than living, states away from them. Um, but it's all about balance. It's all about what
Exactly.
you value in your own life and where you want to spend that time and who you want to spend that time with. And some of us aren't strong enough to put those boundaries in place. That's not something we're necessarily born knowing how to do, you know. And so that's something that some people have to learn how to do. And I'm all for boundaries because I'm about respect. I want people to respect me and respect my boundaries. And if I can't really be in a friendship with someone who doesn't respect my boundaries. And I've had friends like that before, and God has taken them out of my life. And that's one thing too I wanted to mention. Whenever you lose a relationship, sometimes it's not even your fault. Sometimes it's not even anything you did. Sometimes that person was not good for you and God removed that person from your life. And eventually you will see the wisdom in that and you will appreciate the fact that that happened. But at the time, you may be like, well, what happened? I wasn't a bad friend. Or, why did that person stop being my friend? Well, probably because they weren't a good friend to begin with. And if you let people walk all over you and use you, that's the kind of people you will attract into your life too. And then they will use you and walk all over you. So you have to, know how to set those boundaries and be like, yeah, you know. Boogie Time says, yes, boundaries and friendships are so important too. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And sometimes we think if I'm going to be your friend, then that means that you can do anything you want and I'll still be your friend. But that's not always the case, you know.
You know what? That's a good topic we need to talk about one day. What is a friend? Sometimes we are friends to people and they're not to us.
Oh my
Sometimes we
goodness.
don't put expectations on our friends. We just join together, and if we join together, then we don't. It's just go through the motions. But I've learned that too, and I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, we have to know what a friend, and what a friend look like. I like when I do my coaching sessions and stuff, I like to ask a lot of questions because you dig in deep. You have to sometimes stop and think about it because a lot of things we do things on autopilot and we do things without even think. Well, that is autopilot, pilot, but we don't even think about the consequences of things. We just flow like a craft.
Well, and I think too, I've had relationships in my life where, I felt like, well, I can help this person, but is that person going to help you? And sometimes your job is not to help them. Sometimes, people are supposed to be helping you. And I think you have to be a little selective. You can't just say, well, I see this person over here hurting, and so I'm going to befriend them and I'm going to do everything I can, to try to help them. And that might not be what God wants you to do. That may not
Yes.
be what that person needs. And so I think now I more or less I think I let God bring people into my life. And if he brings it into my life, then I wait to see what it is he wants me to do. What is the task at hand instead of me just saying, because I used to have a bad habit about trying to help people even though I was hurting my own self and my own family. But I would feel like, this person needed something and I would try to help them. So yeah, you
Yes.
really have to, stop and think about it. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. We're going on 2 hours. I never know how long we'll go, and I hate that because I want to be able to interact with the chat and make sure everybody feels like we heard their comments. And um, oh, BJ said this is strange. I just got a super, but there is no name given. Look back on your videos. Because I think they can give you a super on a video now, BJ, and you might see a comment or see it on the video.
Congratulations to you, BJ. You got a
Yeah.
super chat, a super chat. Yay.
Yay. That is wonderful. But yeah, look back on your video because I think they can do it on a video now, and
Yeah,
it
they
might give you
can.
some more information.
They
Yeah,
can.
BJ he's had his issues with trolls. He is deaf and he has cerebral palsy. And so he is limited in his movement, and because he can't hear, it makes it difficult for him to go live and things like that. And so he's done lives, he's had a lot of trolls, but now he's doing some AI videos, and he's really got some really good topics that he's been doing. So I hope he'll feel encouraged and keep, going down that path. And we all have to find our own path. Maybe you don't want to do live streams. That's okay too. Maybe you only want to do live streams. That's okay too. Everybody's got to do it however it fits with them.
Exactly.
You know, super chats are on lives and super stickers. Yeah. Yeah. And I think he's got the 500. Well, he has 1,000 subscribers now, but I don't know if he has the AdSense or not. He may not, because then he has to pay dual taxes on it. So he may not. Yes, and he does jokes,
Okay.
and his jokes are like shorts, but they're funny. They'll make you
Okay.
laugh
Okay.
if you because some of them you're like, I should have thought of that one. That was funny.
Well, I don't be thinking of jokes. I listen to them. I'm not a good joke teller.
Me
I'll
neither.
just
I can
listen to
never
'em.
remember the punchline,
That's
or I
a
say the
that's a
punchline too soon.
Yeah, it's a lot of work trying to figure out jokes. See, that's what makes us so unique and different. Because some people sometimes they come in my audience and they say jokes and I laugh. Some of them not. If they're not funny, I ain't gonna laugh. But some of them funny, and so because of that, I celebrate them. I can't tell no good jokes, so I'm
Yeah,
good with it.
yeah, definitely.
But it was great. It was great connecting with you. I appreciate you letting me be a part of your channel and coming to speak to your audience. I'm so grateful to everyone who stopped and showed love on both sides.
Yes, and just
Because
about everybody is over there on your side, so that is great. And that's what I usually tell people. I've got their link posted. Y'all go connect on their channel and watch from over there, and that helps everybody out. So, and I appreciate you coming so much. I've had such a good time, and I didn't know when you said you got questions, right? I'm like, yeah, I got questions. I'll think of something. But I knew we would have a great conversation, so I appreciate it so much.
thank you.
All right, everybody, go out and have a good rest of your Saturday. Have a great weekend. Get outside, play in the dirt, do something for yourself. All right, I'm going to play my song and then we're going to go.
Before you play your song, I'm your girl. I'm your friend. I'm Snappbacktrishauna. You might go down, but you won't go under. Because you are an overcomer, overcome by the words of your testimony and the blood of the Lamb. I see you on these YouTube streets. Blessings.
Good job, Trishana.
I found the cracks inside my soul. The child within began to grow. A whispered voice said, take my hand. We'll build a world where love will stand. We gathered hearts like scattered leaves, a tapestry of dreams to weave. From broken wings to open skies, together we will learn to fly. Kaleidoscope of happiness, 1,000 colors we possess, transforming pain to something bright. We're butterflies in endless flight. The cocoons held the weight of fears, but now they're gone with all the years. We stitched the threads of laughter's tune and danced beneath the silver moon. Love to draw us near, no longer lost, no longer small. Together we can have it all. Kaleidoscope of happiness, 1,000 colors we possess, transforming pain to something bright. We're butterflies in endless flight.